don't think y'all realize. I don't think y'all realize. Like, what's heartbreaking, and it's like a day-to-day thing, just for a man's mental health. There's people who actually wouldn't give a fuck about my tears. And it's not even their fault. It's just their deep hatred. You know, men can go through, I'll use the term, a midlife crisis. You know, I'm up researching, seeing, what's, the suicidal rate, of men, and, why is it high, and, researching things and realizing a lot of it's centered around finances. That I've always told y'all, there's no fucking emphasis on, our emotional well-being. We're just pushed out there. Our emotions are pushed aside. I just came across the post pertaining to darker men. And I'd say this shit to bring y'all into our world as darker men. Not only are we taught to carry the stress and the load just to provide and protect, but I was reading about even just how it creates, how much stress or just repressed and suppressed emotions affects the autoimmune system. And it's fucking disgusting to be in a world and environment, societies, where systems are literally put in place to prey on men that look like me. Then for people to sit back and act like they don't see it. And not only that, it's just, reading that, it can be as painful because, I was just reading a post. It was talking about how it's like y'all don't even realize. Imagine living in a world 35 years where not only the women that look like you are have their own internal battle or whatever. Not all, but most of the demographics that I've been in. And due to their own internalized shit, they project their fears, unresolved traumas, father and mother issues onto you when you don't even pose a threat as a child. Y'all don't even realize how much the courage it takes to try to even convince people that my presence isn't a threat. Y'all have no fucking idea of what it is to not just stand up in this power, to walk in it with integrity and courage, and then to be a guide and light for other darker boys after me, or even boys whose mother is probably dark and their father is probably a lighter shade, but they come out a different complex or shade. They too deal with it. They never talk about it because they struggle with, the am I considered dark, or y'all use the term black, am I considered this and that? Like, y'all have no fucking idea, bro. Y'all have no idea. That's why I don't look for sympathy. I bring it. I share it uncomfortably. Because y'all really don't know what it is to be a darker man who have to face women with father wounds, mother wounds that look like you, that don't know how to embrace you. And I mean consistently. Like literally. It's not, for some of us, we can't call our mothers and sisters and that be a healthy dialogue. For some of us, they only know how to bring up traumatic experiences to bond, which is a trauma bond. Y'all don't know that shit. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't even fucking have compassion. Even you have a society of people that don't even have compassion for what people have went through. And y'all see us as a fucking threat just because of the deep programming. Just because we want to live amongst people just like you do. Y'all programming so deep that y'all actually think that we are a threat, especially people in towns and places when you're dealing with so-called, if you want to use the term, white supremacy, or even people who see themselves superior when you have done everything to dehumanize yourselves and to devalue others. And then you look to people such as they're darker for your solutions when you can't even face yourselves. Everyone in some way has some type of vices, or whether it's self-hatred, whatever it is. Again, I tell y'all, there's no difference from growing up in demographics where you have a mother who's darker, who has father wounds, who has shit she's going through, don't know how to embrace you. She only knows to whoop you, spank you. And she don't even realize the mental illness on how it hurts her more. And she's trying to make sense of it. Y'all have no idea what it is to fight for every day. Just to simply wanting to exist somewhere. Unapologetically. My inner child just wants to feel safe in a place, in a country, and so forth. Y'all don't know the feeling of walking into environments where people turn their nose up at it. Y'all act like this racism or certain shit has went away when a lot of those elders, the people that are literally leaving this world, still have that shit in their veins, bruh. The courage it takes to walk upright. Knowing that it don't matter if you shed a tear. Who's going to care? Who's going to care if you don't care? Y'all sit here and pretend y'all go on with y'all life as if y'all hold space for people that are darker. Some of you know that. You're talking about, y'all don't even realize how deep self-hatred or racism has been, to where you're telling your kids to hold space for people that just look like them. Hold space for their emotions. Hold space for just those people that look like you. Support just those people emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. This is what your America and so forth and economically has done. Not to mention even the people that look like me that are darker, who are also a part of the schemes and the narrative. Now that it's backfiring on them. Yes, there are people who also sold out, if y'all want to call it, who also have their hand in shit like that. Who would love to see people that look like them, because they also have internal hatred, because they also are hurting and don't know how to face it, so they get into this authoritative position and would love to see people like that survive, not break a generational chain or cycle. I will not pretend like there is places, or this is an environment or country or places that literally hold space for my existence, for me to show up unapologetically. And you ask yourself why. And y'all ask yourself, why are people so fucking angry? As if there isn't a thing that, I'm going to use the term Caucasian or white, as if there isn't a thing that white terror isn't justifiable more than us. People who anger is justifiable, but it's feared. And you're telling us not to protect, to submit, to be under a law, which that is bullshit because we're all sovereign. I'm not under nobody. I'm not beneath nobody. Fuck them laws. Fuck all that shit. Because I abide by universal law. And universal law is what you reap, you shall sow. And it's funny how all this shit is playing out karmically, where things would be much different this time. My anger is justifiable. My emotion is justifiable from what I've seen happen to me that I did not deserve, and the people that I've seen. I don't care what color and creed. So no, I won't be a part of shit that supports self-hatred, colorism, or anything that has been sent to keep me in a loop of bullshit. No. So fuck them curses, spells, and all that shit. That shit is done. Y'all don't realize, some of y'all gonna realize like how anointed people are. How a lot of you are literally just collecting more karma for yourselves energetically and also spiritually for yourselves and your lineage. There is a split that's happening. And people are choosing their side. And like I told y'all, a lot of your generation now, you're unconsciously and consciously choosing a fucking side right now. Or whether you want to stay in the same loop of what your great-grandmothers did, because y'all don't realize all ancestors, people that came before you, did not want the best for you and your lineage. Some of you play small, and you expect people at me to play small just because of, like, I am not going to fear and play small and dim my light for fucking nobody. Nobody, not you, not nobody. Because all the grand and amazing, phenomenal people that came along to shift and create something different, they didn't play small for nobody. And they sure as fuck didn't fear death. Because what is that? When energy doesn't die. So again, I speak for those darker little boys who don't know how to navigate those emotions. Where there aren't platforms that have created safe places for us to be vulnerable, for us to feel safe, for us to love, there are creative spaces. Let's stop fucking pretending like there's been places where y'all created. And those of you that are darker, that in authoritative positions, but due to your wounded ass ego, you don't want to hold space for someone because you don't even want them to excel beyond your position, which was given to you by the Most High. So a lot of y'all have a crab in the bucket mentality, no matter what your race, creed, or whatever. This shit is internalized for a lot of you. My compassion is for people who actually have compassion for themselves and give themselves grace. The judgment and a lot of stuff is I don't have, ain't no one exempt from what is finna take place right now. It is very excruciating and sometimes like not as easy every day when you rise, when you are accountable, having to be accountable for yourself, having to be accountable for your emotions because you didn't have a guide or you didn't have a role model, whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna call it out. A lot of y'all in your little careers and your statuses know where you are. No matter how much money you got, especially to you, those of you that are darker in certain positions where we know you ain't gonna speak up. We know you don't care truly for these kids. But a lot of y'all, I see right through a lot of y'all. Y'all play small. Y'all dim y'all lights. Y'all have y'all light dim because you can't speak up on certain platforms because it'll be stripped from you. So you will never know the position that a lot of us are in to be able to speak up unapologetically and still step out in public and have the confidence. So I don't give a fuck about all the glitz and glams and, trying to I know honestly I wouldn't even condone or associate myself with most of y'all. Because truthfully, the reputation that you carry in your so-called limelight is not authentic. It's not integrity at all. Because you're not for the people. And y'all know that. So now the shift is here. And you seeing those rise from the very, these people rising from the very thing that was meant to destroy them. Don't try to come and jump on the bandwagon. Because it's too late. It's a little too late. Because a lot of you have already chosen your side. And a lot of you already knew who were anointed, who had an anointing. A lot of things have already been revealed to people. And they chose not to be a part of what was coming into fruition. And it's already here. So it's wild for me to see a lot of y'all in y'all so-called positions and you are not willing to step off your high horse, which you don't have to because you're entitled to stay and do whatever you want. Think for yourself, do for yourself. But a lot of you are going to be exposed for the frauds that you are. You don't stand for this generation that's coming. A lot of you don't. So again, I don't just speak for myself. I speak for all, especially the generations to come. Because the shit won't be the same. It won't be the same. To see these young men out here, a lot of these elders have given up, don't even want to speak their truth, don't even want to support them in any way. Like I said, y'all have no idea. And I know a lot of you can relate, no matter what status and wherever you are. A lot of y'all been treated like shit anyway. In your careers, in your corporations, in whatever status it is, especially for ones that haven't sold out or pretending like they care. Keep telling y'all the curtain is closed. These ain't just my tears. These are the tears of people who are trying to create change. A lot of you are the man and woman that your lineage has been awaiting for to step up to the forefront. And not out of a balanced, healthy ego, not out of a wounded ego, but more so into your higher self or into your most authentic version of yourself, not dimming your light. When I sit back and observe and I see how a lot of student athletes or certain people and certain demographics are treated, this shit just makes me feel a ways by I'm like, why am I being brought here? Why am I here? And it's just for this moment right here. Y'all want people to sit back and just play small for you. Look, listen, this is nothing new to me because I remember, just still as an amazing athlete now at 35. And, going to a school when I was younger that was, never in my life experienced some shit like that. I had literally just came from Alabama where you talking about the demographics in Birmingham was like, the school had been like 99%. And probably 1%. I don't even recall. I might have seen one or two people that were of lighter shade. But I had got expelled out of there, again, due to some, I really thought younger that acting out or, and not knowing how to navigate my emotions just to get attention was really wild now that I really see that a lot of us literally do it just to try to feel a sense of belonging or acceptance or just to get some type of attention. And we do this in relationships, we do this in environments, we do this everywhere. And I had to come back to North Carolina when I was younger, and I immediately went from one demographic to one school into the opposite. I mean, like, when I went to this school called Piedmont, I ain't never in my life dealt with so much. And it's funny because when I was in Birmingham, I dealt with so much darker people who had self-hatred towards themselves. Like gang members, we wearing uniforms. And, it was still, it's like people still masked themselves, but at the same time, they only did what they felt was right or what they felt was most authentic. There was bullies there. There was all this and so forth. And it was no difference than when I came to a school that, when I came back to North Carolina, I was like, what the, 98%, 97, 98%, what they call white. That's the adjective, but what they call white. And, coming into this whole demographic, like I told y'all, a lot of this stuff, traveling, a lot of this shit is nothing new to me. Like going places to realize that people really are fucked up in the inside. They really hoard and hide a lot of things traumatically, suppressing a lot of things. And let me tell you this, when I went to that school, the first thing was what I noticed now is that a lot of the rebel flags, the Confederate flags, whatever you want to call them, we were not allowed to wear Malcolm X t-shirts. They weren't allowed to wear the rebel flag, Confederate flags. But outside of school, there was a certain privilege. There was a certain thing that they could get away with. There was a lot of things. Like, y'all don't realize, how much, deep certain things are in this country that has been allowed and still is prohibitive. You know what I'm saying? What I also realized, that a lot of the girls that did not look like me were so enamored or were in awe to see a little boy or a darker boy, and they literally were gravitated towards it. But then again, they could not hide the fact of that a lot of their lineages or their family had a deep hatred for darker people. So it don't matter where I'm traveling in a different state or somewhere else, this shit has been always everywhere. But the first thing they'll do is they'll smile. A lot of these teachers or a lot of the coaches smile and they want to see how you perform. So that shit is no difference on a high school level, college, collegiate, all these structures that have been in place are systematic racism or internalized racism, whether people know they have it or not. I'm talking about when they used to have drug dogs. I've never seen nothing like this in middle school, high school. They had drug dogs coming to the school. I'm like, yo, what? These so-called kids who were classified as white, using that term, they had, dad and them owned car lots and farms and mom and them, and they literally had access. And this is what people don't realize. You're talking about how drugs was implemented in certain places, in certain demographics. But people don't know the vices of people who have the money and have access to those certain resources. I'm talking about heavy drugs. I'm talking about stuff that y'all have. I didn't even know why you had a drug dog. Because I'm sitting here thinking, when you in a certain demographic for so long and only around darker people, your mind is, you're going to think oh, we only do that. But when you go to a school and you're realizing whoa, hold on, pause. Drug dog? I'm talking about pills. I'm talking about all kind of stuff that I didn't even know that existed. But at the same time, these are the kids, and I keep telling y'all, every time I'm traveling somewhere, I'm going somewhere, I'm like, whoa, we are not the only ones struggling through certain things or going through things. That's what's hidden. Y'all don't even realize that for a lot of you that never traveled outside of your demographics. That shit going on everywhere. I be always telling y'all that somebody got an addict in every family, no matter the color and creed. So my thing is, it's like, it amazes me how people are so divided amongst each other, but they going through the same shit. Your mama, that person mama, has some type of suppressed emotion. I see people go through it no matter if they're whatever career they're in. I speak from my experience because I now sit back and realize, like, whoa, everybody going through something. Everybody going through something. Especially mental health right now. Everyone. Especially around this age when you're 30, between your like early 30s, 35, 36. A lot of men go through, I'm going to use the term midlife crisis, or I like to look at it now as a financial transition, or even the fact of like the feeling of going through or experiencing these things from a lens of a darker man rather than a lens of a man that is considered Caucasian or white. Because it's not the same. Y'all don't realize it's not the fucking same. It is not the same. For one, y'all don't know personally what I had to deal with being in certain places. And I know for you jaw jab and be like, well, you don't have to be there. No, I am called to be places just to whistleblower, to bring exposure, to realize, like, y'all don't realize there are cities that when they do a background check, when they do certain things, and they find out you are darker, bro, I have got literally rejected from shit like that. I have literally, y'all don't even realize, I've got like, oh no, we're not going to let him work here. Because y'all don't realize a lot of these people businesses are just to support them. Y'all don't realize, I be telling y'all, certain towns literally are just to support. They were built on structural racism or hatred, or to keep darker people out. And then they have the nerve, some of you people y'all go to the schools or go to these places, your police, your doctors, and all this other shit. Come on, yo. It's all been exposed that this is who people characters are. I'm not saying all, but some of them even, they have a place of compassion, but they fear the consequences because they have been a part of something so long that they either fear the consequences or the unknown, or they don't know how. That's just like someone supports someone. Oh, I want to donate, I want to do this. But if someone else finds out that you did that to support someone darker, everybody not ready for them consequences. Everyone not ready for that. Everyone not ready for that. And y'all don't realize, I keep trying to tell y'all, there's no in this country what has happened just to be a darker man. There is no mutual trust amongst people that are lighter and darker. And the only way you can unresolve that is just fucking sit down with people. I don't care if your family didn't own what y'all use the term, hold people captive. I don't care if you did or not. You still don't sit down with people. You know you've been living in a town that throughout the last couple 100 years, what has happened there? You know your grandmother and grandpa has been a part of stuff like that. You still don't sit down. You still go to your teaching and curriculum and still pretend like, don't question, like, I wonder what that little dark boy goes through. He already got to go through shit with his own mother, who don't really have a support system depending on her demographics, who already got to deal with women that don't look like her and men that don't look like her, because she's automatically looked as a threat. And the men that are darker are looked at as a threat because of what has been portrayed. Y'all don't even realize, like, y'all lose and be shattered when a man like me approach some of these people, and I can automatically, like as an empath or just in tune, pick up on the energy of knowing that how people don't fuck with me. And some of y'all, it's not even y'all fault because you didn't do what your grandmother and grandfather did. But y'all don't realize in order for solutions to happen, y'all either got to communicate to people. Y'all don't even realize that a lot of darker people don't feel safe around people like y'all. It's just as much as y'all don't feel safe around us. And y'all don't even have probable cause. No one has done nothing to y'all personally. Y'all naturally think we are a threat because of how deep your programming has been, as if we did certain things to y'all personally. No, y'all go off a narrative of a story. And then y'all act like a lot of y'all grandparents or y'all family and mothers, y'all mothers and fathers' hands are fucking clean. Karma is saying that no one's hand is clean. Meaning we all have something unresolved or can resolve things. Y'all are choosing not to. Do you not realize how much I'm choosing to have grace with people day to day? Because of my anger is fear that much. Y'all don't know that shit. Because how dare I show anger in public? But for a lot of y'all crocodile tears, you can immediately spaz out in public. A lot of y'all want to date darker men. A lot of y'all are wanting to be a part of the darker community or be a part of things. But it's your own internal blockage. A lot of y'all want to be a part and y'all hide behind shit. I call it out because it's real. I know people personally. We come as no threat, but yet I even seen men that are a lighter shade and they women or see me like it's not natural for all of us to look at people, whether they're beautiful, whether, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, whether they are attractive in some type of way. I literally see men who are disgusted with men that look like me just because their wife looks. Just because their daughters does not date a man that look like them. Y'all, but I'm trying to tell you, man. And y'all act as if, and that's how confident I have to be within myself as a darker man. How I have to show up. Where I have no representation of what I do. The confidence of speaking my truth authentically. And a lot of y'all don't even know, as if that isn't a threat in itself against what y'all have built upon self-hatred. Because a lot of you fear the karmic and divine retribution from that. That your daughters or somebody, your wives or whatever, may be geared towards someone who is emotionally intelligent or is walking in integrity or it can take accountability for himself. Because a lot of y'all as men hide behind that shit. And behind the scenes allow your narcissistic or, inauthenticity to show so well. And a lot of y'all stay with men knowing that they have a hatred towards darker people and knowing that you have a love and compassion for them. And you'll stay in it. Because you fear the consequences of knowing that you want to support somebody. Knowing that you want to engage. And a lot of y'all got kids by these same people. And it's no different. I got mommy because I had my lips are dry, but there's no difference in people personally I know. They'll talk so much how much they don't really have love for darker people. Y'all don't, like, let's be real. It ain't even just a love. Y'all don't have no admiration. Y'all don't have no appreciation, no compassion or nothing. Y'all don't even have real consistent relationships with them. Now, before someone come at me, I personally, like I said, the grace every day not to fuck someone up or not to even spaz out, because I have to give myself grace to the fact of what I know I've been through with not just darker people. I know what I've been through with people that are lighter. I've known what people have went through. And every day I'm choosing. I can choose. Now that I know like the importance of my anger being justifiable, how much that affects my well-being, how much people want you to shut up and sit back. No. Like I said, a lot of y'all don't know how much of a threat unconsciously, when I don't mean no harm to nobody, but some of y'all are literally the biggest bullies. That's bullying. When you want to devalue someone just because of how they look. And a lot of y'all don't realize your fathers, your grandfathers, and a lot of these people, they bully their way to where they are and have the nerve to say it's integrity and have the nerve to tell y'all like, this is what we work for to get here. This is legacy. Bullshit. And I tell them to their face. Anybody, I don't care what color creed you are. A lot of y'all ain't did shit in integrity, and that's what it shows. All of your business, all the shit y'all built on has been built on hatred, destruction, kill, seek, and destroy. That shit ain't built from a place of love and authenticity. So I'm not concerned about anyone trying to attack or demolish or try to dismantle my empire, because I know what I built it on, and no one can come and blackmail that, and no one can come and attack that. And that's the beauty of being a creator, a co-creator. That's the beauty. Well, a lot of y'all can't sit here and say y'all can stand on something 10 toes. No, a lot of y'all people, y'all know, a lot of y'all fathers, mothers, whatever it is, off the backs of people. Trying to cut corners. Do certain things to try to one up people. How are y'all proud of that? How you happy with that? And it's so funny how I sit back and look at people, they the fucking most miserable. That's how you can determine what people have really created. Their legacy, their empire. And you talking about continuing something like that and wanting me to be a part of it, I respectfully decline. Unapologetically, fuck no. Get out of my face. Nope. Won't be a part of your colorism. Won't be a part of your self-hatred campaign. I won't be a part of none of that shit. Return to sender. That's your karma. I know what side I'm on. And this side always wins because it's righteous. Because it's honest. I don't have to hide from me. A lot of y'all shit, corporations and stuff you see in dismantle, have hid their hands and were a part of a lot of stuff that y'all don't even realize, that doesn't reflect the reputation that you truly want to uphold. And that's what this is about, reputation. Just because they show you in the public certain things, you don't know who they are behind closed doors and what they worship and what they do and what they're entangled with. Reputation, because anything that y'all see physically first happens spiritually. So ain't nobody got away with nothing. This is why we're building, and now things are being exposed just to be built on something stable, honest, and truthful. So why would I need to feel ashamed and guilt knowing that a place or people or anything doesn't value my existence, doesn't value me as a darker man, beyond just a darker man, just value and reflects my core values of self-respect, self-care, self-love, truth, honesty, integrity. When I know there's no amount of money, there's no amount of nothing that can skip that process of transformation. It matters more that there will be young boys and young men and men that will see this message who probably